Ladies and gentlemen, I am Azura. Welcome to the Tribble Timewarp. It is the 12th of January 2014, and Season 8.5 has begun its run onto Tribble. So let's take a look at some of the major features. First off, we have a new PvP queue, if I can get this mouse to work properly. It is a small craft only queue, which is more than welcome, and it is mixed faction, something that will please PvP's steadily dwindling player base. Actually, are there any left? I have no idea. It tends to be one-off events these days, at least in my fleet. So, it is there. Unfortunately, I cannot show you anything because, well, Tribble's population is never high at the best of times, and as you can see, the precise number of participants in there is lower than the patronage of a Ferengi shop for demure ladies' outerwear. Hopefully we will have a Tribble test weekend at some point, or no one is going to be able to get any time on that whatsoever before it goes live. A slightly more useful feature generally for the player base is that we now have quick equip available for your captains, your bridge officers, and your ship. Should you wish to change the equipment in a particular slot, you no longer have to go through that tiresome mucking about with your inventory. You can simply left-click the slot you wish to equip, and it will show you all the available options. In this case, the various personal shields I have on my bridge officers, as well as my own captain. It is worth noting that some of my bridge officers have never really had their gear upgraded at all. It would perhaps explain the number of deaths from exploding consoles. However, that is by the by. It is also rather clever in that if you have, for want of a better term, different subsections of your inventory open, for example your bank, your ship selection, etc, 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 it will take those into account as well. So for example, if I bring up the USS Hood, you will see that it's saying that there is nothing available to replace my phaser cannon. There is no point bringing in the other three cannon or the torpedo that I already have equipped. And it's not counting the torpedoes or the kinetic cutting beam, because it would have to swap the dual phaser cannon into a rear slot, and that is not permitted. It is smart enough to spot when something will break the rules. However, if I open up ship selection, bring up the Hood, and then ask for the phaser cannon again, it will give me all the various valid weapon options that I have for the forward weapon slots in my other ships as well. Likewise, if I had the bank open, it would pick those up. Handy, handy, handy. We also have new art for the Romulan 0-point energy conduit, which, well, there wasn't really anything wrong with the old version, but that's kind of snazzy, so props to whoever did that. And small craft, for the most part, have had their options updated. You will see that there's now this little icon in the lower right hand corner of the small craft only gear for the most part. One notable omission is the Mark 11S Mark 11 shuttle phaser array at blue quality. It is worth noting that the standard version does have it, so that perhaps needs to be dealt with. Again, you can cross-swap. It is worth noting that it will not give you the option for an invalid swap as before. Let's see, what else do we have? Various fixes, most notably that CPR is now more reliable, so if you're trying to revive someone, it will apparently no longer fail for a no apparent reason whatsoever. In addition, the Nukara Reputation's Cryo-Immobilizer module is now properly respecting resistance and immunities. Willpower and other resistances will reduce the duration of the route, so apparently sheer willpower is now sufficient to defrost you. I have no idea. I assume it just allows you to ignore the impending frostbite and whole muscles not working bit. What is slightly less welcome, however, is that the Tier 5 abilities, that is to say the uber powers that you got at Tier 5 of each rep track, are now on a shared 10-minute cooldown timer, one for space and one for ground. So if you pop your Omega-style medical nanite cloud, you cannot use Defiance from the Dyson rep for 10 minutes. Likewise, the Nukara Tier 5 Refracting Tetrion Cascade will lock out the Romulan singularity manipulation power, and vice versa. I am not sure why Cryptic have done this. There has been little in the way of explanation. I do not agree with it. This just pushes these powers further into the too awesome to use, or rather the awesome but impractical categories, and as a consequence I am really rather confused as to why that has been done. Additionally, and I think this is the main thing we will cover for this episode of the Time Warp, we can come back to the rest later, the Klingon War arc for the Federation has had an update. Various missions have been revamped. War is Good for Business has been deleted. It is gone. It is no longer there. You cannot find it. So I'm not sure why they've done that. I assume it was because it was felt to be superfluous with Treasure Trading Station. But the other missions in the Klingon War arc, with the exception of the Davidian line, have had revamps. So let's pick one. Why not? Let's go with Stranded in Space. This has already had one revamp, so I'm curious as to what they have done to it. So, off we go. We have the optional to speak to Malcolm Cecil in a shipyard. Well, since we're close, let's get going and go have a quick word with him. Repair ship. That wasn't what I wanted to do at all. There you are, Malcolm. Long time no see. Right, the SS Azura has gone out of contact. Right, so that hasn't changed at all. Likewise, we get the tutorial options there. So, energize. Let's go find our missing freighter again. Turns out she wasn't more careful with the new one. And off we go. Alright, Tribble, I'm going to have to very quickly sort out my bridge stations while we are there. This is something I would like to see removed, that the weapons are loaded into the bridge officer tray by default. They really shouldn't be going into there at all because you have the dedicated tray anyway. Which reminds me, put that onto auto fire. So, just a note about the Tetron Cascade. There we go. Accidentally triggered it. And you can see that singularity manipulation is now on its lockout as well, both for 10 minutes. As I said earlier, I am not at all sure why Cryptic have made that change, but made it they have. So, Les, Tom, just slapping this together with no particular regard to effectiveness. Mirror, yep, that gives me a tactical station, and we'll go with a second engineer. No, actually, who else do we have? Pearl, what about the Vulcan? Yep, he'll do. Right, okay, fine. That will do for a bridge setup. A little bit cobbled together, but who cares? Engage. Engage. Come on. Engage. Right, while we're waiting for that to sort itself out, just a quick note. Various other little tweaks have happened. Protonic Polaron weapons will now proc far more often, so that will hopefully solve the problem that their DPS really wasn't up to the mark compared to other weapons of similar quality. And the various lockbox items now have energy credit values, so can be sold to vendors. Why would you do that? No, who cares? You can. However, oh, right, that's how to tweak. I don't remember seeing that static effect before. However, the basic plot seems to be the same. So, onwards. We're still a light year out. Need to step on the throttle a bit. And in we go. Right, Stranded in Space. Haven't played this for a long while. There we are. Here we are. Yes, we noticed. So you said. Okay, that's a bug. That should have been exiting from warp, and there come the Orions right on schedule. That's not changed. Also, no shield bubble on the freighter, despite the fact that the weapons are behaving as though there was one, so that needs to be sorted out as well. We have the second wave of Orions jumping in to intercept us. That's not changed either. Right. Let the ownage commence. Also, where is my ship? Alright, cutscene. So, yes, thank you. Interestingly, that seems to be changing based on the bridge. So we now have generic Orion corvettes. Attack pattern beta has had a bit of a nerf. It will now only stack once per player. So you need to have multiple players lined up to get the best of this. It's not applying multiple stacks of the debuff, as you can notice. Not that it's making a massive difference at this point. Have some plasma torpedoes, you piratical sons of targs. There we go. Okay, so that's 2 dealt with. Also, I appear to have accidentally spammed some extra torpedoes. Well, they can just sit there for a bit. Onwards, let's go deal with this second wave of corvettes. Scatter volley out, and off we go. Boom, 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 boom. That's 1, and he isn't going to last much longer either. 2. Okay, now. Okay, that's interesting. Wasn't there supposed to be a Orion heavy cruiser jumping in at this point, or is that later? Who cares? In any event, there's only the 2 waves to clear, so that's a little bit on the quick side. Not to worry. I am going at this with a somewhat overpowered ship. Oh, that's a nice touch. They're changing the background for the Origin bridge. Now, I'm not sure which bridge I have available and active. I'm also not sure I can even visit the bridge at this point. I can't because I'm in a mission. Well, we can check that later. Away team, report to the transporter room. Let's go! Geronimo! Right then, so we have arrived in our own transport room. Interestingly, it is using or at least a tweaked version of the Origin class bridge set. Also worth noting that it is just going to beam us straight from one to the other. Bit of an immersion breaker that you can actually see it on the map. Perhaps they need to move the distance a bit further apart from there. Also, what is up with the lighting in here? Speak to the chief. Right. Concerned about the radiation on the Azura. Well, okay. Try to keep a lock on us. It would be awkward if it went wrong. Also, can you change the light bulbs in here? Or at least fix that big one there. Okay, beam out. Let's head across. Cue the not quite transition. Okay, nice touch that they used the transporter cutscene but didn't trigger as lockout pattern. Also, note the radial lighting pattern on the transporter pad. Actually, is that a lighting thing? Or is that actually a texture point that's meant to be there? I'm not sure. Either way, it looks a little odd by comparison. Anyhow, guns up. Right, the rest of them are Orions. Well, that hasn't changed, so let's go. Okay, this has been tweaked. This room wasn't here before. Let's head sideways. Just check this out. Nothing of interest at the moment. We have got the 3 plasma leaks to hit first, so we'll check them to begin with into this side room following the map. Ah, right, we have a secondary objective, scan crewman. Now, I'm science, so this might be my optional. Ironlin will take care of the symptom. Yep, that looks like it's the side objective. Radiation levels too high, can't get a lock. Okay, also, I note that the textures have been flipped in that transport room. The right-hand computer panel needs to be mirrored. Speak to crew member. Get to the transporter room. Okay, right, so yes, that does look like it was my secondary. Let's just make sure that. Bring up the mission option. Yep, accolade, science, heal, injured crew. There we go. So, let's go shut down this plasma leak. Of course, it's not going to be that easy, or maybe it is. Handy, handy, handy. Bypass conduit. Off. There we go, and the lighting's changed as well, which is a nice touch. And we have our first Orions. Hi, guys. Fall over. Come on. Fall over. Come on. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, die, die. There we go. Thank you. Nice and simple. Only 2 of them. Remarkably easy for even a partial awaiting, but let's get going. Come on. Come on. Down you go. Down you go. 1 and 2. Okay, so we have our second injured crewman. Apply treatment. And speak to the crew member to send us to the transport room. Nice touch, or rather continuity nod, about using the Hyronolin to counter radiations. poisoning that will come up on several occasions. The ship's about to go boom, so we're going to loot it dry while we're here. A couple of anonymous readings, but we need to bypass this plasma conduit like so, and that should get the next vent of superheated death out of the way, which it has done. So, corridor again, and then room number 3. And we have more Orions. Now, I don't care if you're administering first aid or just merely going through her pockets, you're going to die. Also, he was remarkably non-aggressive, just mimed at us. This is why martial arts do not generally do too well in the Star Trek universe. Still, at least that one had the sense to shoot back, and we're good. Salvage crewman number 3. There we go. No animation, which is interesting. Also, thinking about it, that first animation, we were supposed to be applying a hypo, but we just waved the medical tricorder over her instead. Maybe... Is there a apply hypo animation in this game? Can't remember. Anyhow, there's certainly an apply hypo to self animation. I'm just not sure about apply hypo to others. Maybe something the animation team could usefully come up with if they've got the spare time. Which is a very big if, now I think about it. Cryptica, not a large team compared to, say, Blizzard. Anyhow, that's Plasma Leak 3 dealt with. Let's get on with the warp core, which is presumably about to go boom in the same way. Scanning the warp core. Yep, core breach imminent. Can we contain the breach? Of course not. Can we eject the core? What do you think? Right. Excellent. We're... yeah. They're gone. Okay, off we go. Let's see if we get the Orions beaming in at this point. Yes, it looks like we're about to. Right, so there were, I think it was 2, maybe 3 packs. We certainly got 2 this time. Yes, guys, I want you to beam onto a ship that is about to go boom in spectacular fashion. What does this do? Operate console. Beep, boop, beep. Okay, it's jammed news. Presumably that's the tactical option and just allow you to incinerate a few guys. However, you have to wonder at Orion brains, or perhaps just the loyalty their women inspire, because they've beamed onto a ship that is about to go bang. However, doesn't matter, they're going to die either way. This is just going to be a bit faster. Come on. There we go. Come on. Come on. Begin with the falling over. There we go. Oh, look, they did bring one of the ladies along. Well, you're not having that. And she pulled her mind control. How nice. Well, we're not having that. Break up the auto fire. And you can go down. Pop in the Omega nanites by accident. And then break out the shield recharge, which is what I meant to do, but I'm not really looking at my keyboard at the moment. Are you all dead? Yes, good, fine, excellent. Looty, looty, looty. Assault minigun. Surprised he didn't actually use it, but hey, that's the limits of the game engine. And yeah, we've only got the 2 groups to clear out, so I think that has been sped up a bit. Now, what do we have? Get to the transport room, we'll be right behind you. Yeah, hang on, we are basically at the transport room, aren't we? Right, so radiation's coming down. Come on, energize. Energize? Also, why are there only 3 of them down? There ought to be at least 6. The crew of the engine room and the 3 I rescued myself, so perhaps that needs to be looked at. Excellent, so we have 3 out, and we have 3 in. Who seem none the worse for wear, despite the medical team not sprinting in. Okay. Right. I don't know, maybe if they add voice work to this. Brown was teasing us with some voice sessions earlier this week, so that might be on the go. Right, and now we need to beam out ourselves. So, back onto the happily decorated transporter pad and hit the button. Energize. And we're good. Okay, so yes, that's what I thought. That camera pan over the door to the turbo lift was meant to show the medical team beaming in the last version of this cutscene, but since they've replaced that with the turbo lift, it doesn't really work. Also, this is what I meant about the textures on the computer panel being the wrong way round. That needs to be flipped, even if it does mean that it's a little more obviously identical to this one. I suppose it depends which you find more annoying. Personally, that strikes me as being worse. I don't know, I'm just not a fan of Da Vinci. What can I say? Speak to the chief. Yes. Awaiting, prepare for emergency transport. Wait a minute, I just did that! Ugh. Okay, no matter. That's something that needs to be tidied up in a dialogue pass. Medical staff. Excellent. Right, so, turbo lift. Wait a moment. Was there a sound effect there? Nope, we're missing the sound effect on this door. Add another thing to the bug list. Okay, not to worry. Use the turbo lift. Well, I don't know whether that would be better than having the camera jammed into the back of my neck or not. Anyhow, we are back into space. Let's see, I think it was one Orion cruiser and a couple of escorts at this point. And here we are, incoming message from the Orions. Tom can't appear to decide which seat he's in. I have to note he was over on the other side of the bridge earlier. And yes, you're taking the ship. This ship is about to explode. Has anyone considered pointing this out? Right, so we have 2 corvettes. Well, that's not going to do very much. Honestly. Boom, and boom. Okay, this is ludicrously easy. I assume it would be tougher at lower levels and with a less effective ship, because the scaling does not generally tend to account for the fact that you have 4 times the firepower. But let's get on with it. Shield's gone with the first salvo, torpedoes just shred the hull, and okay, so far so good. We'll just pop the Tetrion to get rid of the fighters more than anything, for all the good it did. Evasive to pitch back around, and fire. Okay. That's the mothership dealt with, and so updated the objective already. We still, however, need to clean out the last of the interceptors. We'll call in the Norse can deal with this. We have a slight change here. You now have an Orion Corsair backing you up, which is ironic given the circumstances. It was replacing a Breen vessel, if memory serves. No, wait, we've got the Breen vessel there. What was it replacing? Where have my notes gone? Where is it? I forget. I think it was either Nausicaan or no, it was Herosian that used to transport in. However, transport Captain Brott. Boosting containment, and 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Shame about the ship. Never mind. The insurance payout was, I am reliably informed, pretty good. So we have the option to chat to the captain, not to mention loot the place dry, which is standard randomly generated loot of average quality. Speak to Captain Brott, let's see if this has changed. She's in the turbo lift. Okay. What was Azure's mission? Transport ship. Okay, I don't think any of this has changed. Nope. No, it hasn't. So, that is the revised Stranded in Space. It still has a few rough edges that need to be sorted out. And if the voice work is going to be put in, then that would be a welcome bonus. However, we are done for the moment, so let's depart the system and double check whether or not this thing is actually running on the Origin bridge or not, because I'm pretty sure on live it's using the Galaxy bridge as a backdrop. However, visit the bridge. Let's see what it's running with. Aha, so it has defaulted us over to the Origin bridge, which is... Sorry guys, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Completely accidental. Anyhow, we have the Origin bridge, and it looks like it's just picking random backdrops Somebody get Tom the chair, ladies and gentlemen. I have been Azura. That has been the first Tribble Timewarp of Season 8.5. And the prank war with the computing department is clearly going to start escalating. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you next time.